And there we go again. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Yeah, the thing was, tried to put it in, the vertical, but then I couldn't push the. I got it. Your recording.
The wonders of technology. Well,
Yeah. I'm used, like I say, I'm normally say I'm used to sending smoke signals, so and meet people in person. So these days it's so technical, After, but anyway, good to see you. So where are you seated?
I am in Minnesota.
Minnesota, Trondheim, Norway, pretty far up north.
I got some Norwegian in my blood as well, so it's
Are you have Viking blood?
That's
Wow.
right.
Yeah,
Swedish
cool.
and Norwegian for the most part.
Okay, cool. Have you visited Norway or Scandinavia at all?
Not yet, but it is something that I
I,
very much want to do.
yeah, you should come and see the fjords, man. Yeah.
Oh, very much so. Well, awesome. Well, it's great to be able to talk to you. This is a interview I've wanted to do for quite some time, and it's
Wow,
great to be able
cool.
to talk to you and talk about this great new album, which I've had the privilege to be able to check out for quite a bit now, and it's already coming out next week through Frontiers Music, which it's hard to believe
Yeah.
it's
It's
already
actually next
mid-February
week.
next week.
Fuck, it's going fast.
So, thinking about that as well, I mean, how does it feel to already have this album coming out next week?
Well, when you said it now, it's like, wow, it's already next week. Everything seems, to be so far away, but then suddenly it's like tomorrow, everything. So, yeah, it's fascinating how life runs faster the older you get.
Oh, it truly is. It feels like it can go faster and faster. But in thinking about that as well too, I mean, obviously, with a time going the way that it is, it's amazing to see that since the last record, how much you guys have like skyrocketed in popularity. And it's so great to see that you guys didn't lose that momentum with this album because it feels like it still has that great passion and sound and a great joy that makes me smile when I listen to it, and it's great to see
That's good
that
to hear.
continues onward.
Well, that's actually what we hope that people feel, when they listen to the new album, that they could kind of relate to that, and have the same feeling like from the first albums that we did, that the tongue-in-cheek humor, and we pretty much wanted to get back to the humor in rock and roll and the entertainment thing, but at the same time, I think we managed to keep the heaviness from Never Say Die, the comeback. I mean, we are attacking the music in a different way nowadays, and even though we have some fun, some more funny songs on this album than the previous one, I think they are both very related.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. There's one line in particular, you might know what it is, on Ghosting You. Bringing out your panties on a pile of cocaine.
Yeah.
The first time I heard that lyric, I could not stop laughing.
Oh, how cool. The funny thing about now I'm doing a lot of interviews with American people, and in Norway and Scandinavia, people don't tend to listen to the lyrics. So it's pretty much going in here and out there. So, but every time I talk to Americans, they seem to catch something that the Scandinavians won't catch, and that's pretty neat. I like it because for me, the lyrics have become more and more important, and it's as much as a part of the song as the music. Sometimes, I've done my listening on country music and music that mostly can kind of stand this kind of song, the singing or the melodies, but sometimes the lyrics you just take you at, so that's good to hear. Because we have a lot of fun with our lyrics sometimes.
Oh, for sure. And I'm glad you also mentioned like the kind of variety in the music as well too, like a country in particular. It's like there's some country tinges a little bit through this album, but I appreciate the fact that you guys continue to be able to maintain what the band is all about, but you're also able to hit all these different other territories. I mean, whether it's more hard rock, whether it's more heavy metal, whether you're expanding to like more country or blues kind of feelings. I mean, it's like you know who the band is, but you're not afraid to be able to show off all these different genres that you like to play, and I love that.
You know, that's the strength of being, you know, three songwriters in the band. The bass player Bernd writes some songs, and Tron and me write songs. And, you know, we come from different backgrounds, you know, within the rock and roll genre, you know. Bernd, you know, he's the guy who wrote God by Your Side and The American Dream. And for me, it's very easy to hear which songs he wrote, you know, because he comes from this heavy metal tradition of Judas Priest and Metallica, you know, and, you know, new wave of British metal. That's where he's from. And Tron is more from the bluesy area, and I'm more the glam rock guy. But you know, I listen, like I told you, I listen to a lot of pop music and, you know, country music as well. And also, you know, heavy metal. I love Judas Priest and all those bands. But, you know, you tend to bring some elements from the music that you listen to. And one thing I think is cool, I mean, if you bring all this together, it becomes Wig Wam, you know, in some way or another. And I think that I would fancy that more than, you know, bringing out things that you have heard that you obviously can connect to as a Whitesnake song or something that is directly kind of stolen from the same genre that you are in. That becomes, you know, kind of boring because people have heard that before, you know. Why should we bring in Deep Purple influences? I mean, this they already did it, so let's bring in something new, something fresh, something. I mean, we never kind of think about it when we write songs, but, you know, we get the inspiration from all around us, you know. Even sometimes when I when I watch TV, you know, the CNN, you know, the music in the breakdowns, sometimes I catch myself, you know, and sometimes that would develop into something totally new, and I'm not aware where it actually came from, you know. So we're all inspired by what we listen to and what's around us. So if I had been listening only to Whitesnake songs 24/7, all my songs would probably sound very Whitesnake-ish, I guess.
You know, just like you were mentioning just a bit ago, you know, it feels very authentic when you're writing these songs together. I mean, none of this sounds forced. I mean, especially since you came back. It really just feels like you're writing the songs that you want to make. It doesn't feel like
Yeah,
you
we do.
have to write a particular song. And I appreciate that so much more than having the feel forced about it. Like if you felt forced to like have to write like a Whitesnake or a Deep Purple song when your heart's just not into it. I want a Wig Wam album, and that's what I got on this album, and it's
Yeah,
so great to
cool.
hear it.
And that's how it works for us. I mean, I'm, you know, like the, you know, old-fashioned guy. You know, of course I have my own studio here and where I record my demo tapes and stuff. But normally I don't write music in my studio. Kind of, you know, I write it when I'm out walking the dog, or if I'm, you know, in my car. I write songs 24/7, but I only hum it and sing it. Or if I have an acoustic, I play it on my iPhone. So I collect all these ideas on my iPhone, and then suddenly, if we're to do a Wig Wam album, I will listen to all these crazy ideas that just came here and there, and I put them together. And sometimes it's a whole song, and sometimes it's, you know, only a chorus or a riff or something. And so I know I always mark every song idea that I have, even though it's only 2 bars. With could be a Wig Wam song, could be an Ammunition song. Here's something for the solo stuff, you know, because I'm also a songwriter for other artists. So I kind of label them, you know. So when we're doing a Wig Wam album, it's easy for me to check out if I don't have an immediate idea, like when we worked together, John and me, for wrote the Out of the Dark song, which came from our conversation and his guitar riff, you know. So that was more an immediate thing. But then again, when we were working on the song, I thought, you know, we were missing a part, and I could kind of hear it. So I had to check on my iPhone, and on my iPhone, I had an idea for a new song that went da 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 da. I thought it may be a bit too Iron Maiden-ish, but, you know, it worked in the chorus. So it's always there in the Out of the Dark chorus. It's all the way in the back, but in the middle 8 we thought, hey, let's bring this all the way to the front, and that's suddenly a new part.
I love that. I love how that starts off the album with the title track, and it just has like a great heavy punch to it. And sometimes it can sound a little maidenish, but it works for the song. And it's just like it's not playing at the same tempo like some Maiden songs. It feels like it's at Wig Wam tempo, and it just
we listen to
makes it
Maiden too,
authentic.
so yeah. So of course there will be some melody lines here and there from whatever.
What I do appreciate about the album so much, I mean, this one in particular is just like, again, the variety of it, especially the first time that you listen to it. Like, I don't know what's going to come next, and that's got me so excited to be able to listen to it from start to finish. And then once I start to go back and listen to it again, I'm able to appreciate everything so much more, whether it's the lyrics. And again, like Ghosting You always puts a smile on my face when I think about it. 1979, being able to hear like a great instrumental and just hear some great guitar solos going on there. It's just like it's got so many spices and variety to it. And especially in 2023, when not as many people are listening to albums from start to finish, you decided to make sure that continuing that every album is worth listening to from start to finish. And that's what I do every time with this.
We appreciate the concept of albums still, and I think the good thing about an album, so many bands that I love and admire and I put on their albums, and it's like a bunch of singles and then the rest. But what we have done, we had some extremely catchy songs that for obvious reasons should have made it to the album, that some of our friends and even for the management thought these ones you have to put on the album. Said, no, it's maybe could be the biggest hit on the album, but it has no mission here, because an album is a journey, and the journey starts up there in New Mexico, and it's going to take you there, but then you have to pass through this little town there, this ghost town, before you are ready for the the Las Vegas adventure, but everything, the journey is in the same, you're driving the same bus, but you're taken to different places with different sounds and smells and sceneries, and at the same time you're comfortably inside this bus taking you there. So all the time you have to feel like you're on this bus or train, this Wig Wam train or something, but at the same time you can discover new things that you never expected to see or hear.
Exactly. And again, I love the fact that it is an album that you can enjoy from start to finish. And it's just like songs that may not have made the album, they might work in another context, whether you release them as standalone singles or an EP or on the next album, whatever the case is. There's still good songs, and I'm sure that they can come out at some point. But for this particular album, I can't think of any filler on this album. I can't think of anything that sticks out like a sore thumb. It all fits together so perfectly together. And, just keeping it like this, the track order feels like it was so important on this, being able to have everything so well-rounded, and it just makes for a great listening experience.
And I tell you, that takes time to really work on the track list and to find that the journey it's going to take, and for all 4 members to actually agree on what the kind of journey we're on. I tell you, we had a lot of different, it could have taken totally different turns. I mean, we actually had an intro, and the first song was actually in the start. For my sake, I wanted to have this cool intro that we never used, that our keyboard player came up with after I called him and told him, we need something on the Uppercut Shazam. I wanted the whole album to start off with Uppercut Shazam, because I had this great intro that he made, like if we had used that would have given you a totally different take on the album. Of course, might be cooler even, but at the same time, what would follow up that song, you know, everything have to find its place. So I'm very happy that we did what we did. And some of the songs that I never thought would make the album, for example, The Purpose, because it was way too poppy and way too soft, and it didn't feel like it had anything to do on this album. But then after a while, when you listen to the album, wow, that song should really, wow, it to connect with the next song, and to, you know, you can't go directly from one big city to another big city, you know. Sometimes you need it, you know, to stop and have a leak. You know?
Oh, it's so true. So thinking about that as well too, I mean, obviously with, you know, how hard of a decision it is to decide what songs are going to be on the album, especially when you write more than an album's worth of material, and then being able to have the right track order, everything that goes into it. What was it like to be a part of the situation where you're deciding what singles you're going to be showing off the album?
Oh, that was a hard one. I mean, for the obvious choice for the first one was Out of the Dark, since it's the title track. But at the same time, we all knew that it would probably not get much time on air on radio, for example, because it's way too long and it's way too heavy, maybe especially for mainstream radio. But anyway, we decided to make the video and make that, you know, the first taste of the album. And then we had a hard time choosing which song to build, you know, the next two singles. We really struggled, I'll tell you that. Me and the record company and the management, we were very much on the same side with High and Dry. The other guys didn't really want High and Dry as the single number 2, because I don't know why, they thought maybe it was too poppy. I thought it would be good to have the next single a bit more poppy and a bit more radio friendly, because after this heavy Out of the Dark song as the first taste, I thought we needed something that could relate more into, you know, the Peacemaker song, you know, Do You Want to Taste It? Something that could actually draw the attention to from the people that dig that song, you know. But the guys wanted Forevermore as the second single. But I thought I was way too early, because, you know, it doesn't really have the Wig Wam DNA in it, because I find it more into, you know, the kind of music that Eclipse and, you know, Nordic Union makes, you know, with the Celtic melodies and stuff, very far away from what we're known for. But I immediately thought it was a great single, and potentially, you know, the single number 3. And some also thought, you know, why not The Purpose? It would make a perfect, you know, radio single. Yeah, might, but, you know, it's very journeyish. But I thought to myself that was too far away again, you know. So and also we talked about making this lyric video, kind of, you know, the comic book thing, you know, and that would suit High and Dry perfectly. And but at the you know, last minute we really couldn't decide, so we let some radio people that work for us in the US decide which songs to release as singles, and I'm happy we went with High and Dry and Forevermore, because now that we have released Forevermore, it feels like something new, something that we have already, you know, we have painted a kind of a line here, you know, something is heavier and so, but it's the same, from the same tree, so to speak. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And between all 3 of the singles, I mean, it shows all these different sides of the band, which I appreciate. And for me, you know, just like from the fan aspect, that got me very excited to be able to check out the album in full, because if I'm hearing all of these different sides, I was very curious to see like what everything else is going to be as well too. Yeah, exactly. You know, what's next? Is it going to get poppier? Is it going to get more funny? Is it going to be more songs like this or that? And, you know, again, just like being so well-rounded, being showing all of these sides, and like you mentioned before too, like being able to incorporate the new big fan base, because
Yeah.
thanks to James Gunn and Peacemaker being able to show you guys to a new wide audience. You want to be able to incorporate some of them as well too, while not losing who you are.
Yeah, especially that. And that's why also I brought in, as a suggestion for single, Bad Luck Chuck, because it brings us back to the heydays when we did hard rock, Hard to Be a Rock and Roll, or those kind of songs, with a kind of Van Halen-ish flavor, and the tongue-in-cheek humor and lyrics, to it. But, they will probably not play that on radio. I think maybe Forevermore is a more radio-friendly song too. And the album focus track will be Uppercut Shazam, which is gonna kind of promote the album in the next round. Yeah.
Oh, that's got me excited that will be a focus track on there as well too.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned it before, and how it didn't work out quite yet, but the fact that it will be a focus track, that's got me very excited.
Yeah, cool. And we can't wait to bring this all these tunes out live. We're finally coming to the US, and in April, and we have just received a call from our American lawyer saying, now the working visas are on their way and everything looks like it's going to be in order. So finally, it's so hard to get into the US and play, man. But this time we get, working visas for a longer period of time. So it will be easier for us to say, okay, hey, there's a gig there in New York, and we'll come over, and not that much work, just a fucking long flight, but who cares?
And I'm so happy to see that you guys are coming over here. And again, like when you got an album like this too, whether you got openers, whether you're opening or being main support for somebody, it's just like no matter who you would play with, you have songs, especially off this album, that is so well-rounded, and it'll fit so well working with other bands as well, whether they want something heavier or poppier or more bluesy, whatever the case is, you got something for it.
And we have the whole back catalog, so it's here in Norway, we see, when we play here, we kind of think different, between, gigs that we do on, the rock and roll festival, hard rock festivals. We'll have that kind of set list, and when we go out and play more mainstream festivals, we will add our version of I Turn to You, and, songs that are more, commercially known here in Norway. But on the hard rock festivals, we tend to use more of the hard rock songs that we have, so it's good to have things to choose from. And but now we will have a hard time, because we love playing the songs from Never Say Die, like Hypnotized, and we do Shadows of Eternity, and Hard Love, songs like that. And now we have to, bring in new songs again, and we still have, the old classics that we have to play, like In My Dreams, of course, and Hard to Be a Rock and Roller, and Daredevil Heat, and songs that people appreciate. But at the same time, it's so good. I mean, we have certain spots in the set list now that we work on to have to actually, where we are able to change the song from one day to another, because we don't have a show like Kiss. Bands like Kiss, they have to be very rigid. They have to play one set list every day. They can never improvise, because there's so much backtrack stuff going on, and stuff that are in sync with the pyrotechnics and the lights. For us, we have certain places in the set list where we can actually go, today let's do Bless the Night. Yeah, that's cool. And so also to keep the magic of the moment, for people to actually be able to go and see two Wig Wam shows, and they didn't see one show, they saw two very different shows. And that's how we really wanted it to be, and to have some spots even where we can do something, just improvise. I played with and did a lot of touring with Tony Carey from Richard Blackmore's Rainbow, and one of the things that I really appreciated with him was that we had all these songs that we knew we were going to play, But at the same time, we never had a set list, you know. We kind of had a set list, but we never knew what would happen. And we would jam kind of, you know, and we would improvise, and sometimes we would make up new songs on the spot, and that would take us to another song. And wow, this is the same chords as, you know, the other song that we played yesterday, and it would bring us into that song. So that song was suddenly song number 4, and then no show was the same, you know. So, and even though we found cool things, you know, that we came up with, never try to copy it the day after. Like, wow, it was cool yesterday. Yeah, it was cool yesterday. This is today. So today we need to find something else. You know, make sure. Let's pretend it never happened. Forget about that melody that you sang last night, you know, because now it's a new day and there's a new audience. And so that's I think that's something that I really appreciate with music, live music, is that one day can be bad and the other day can be very good. I mean, we are human beings after all, and I think, you know, for vocals or even instruments to sound exactly the same day after day after day, that's inhuman, because that doesn't happen. Because so some days you have slept for 5 hours, the other days you have, you know, and sometimes you come off from a round of gigs, you know, of 7 in a row. Of course, your throat will be affected by it, but at the same time, isn't that cool for the audience to hear that this time he didn't do that part as good as yesterday? That's the beauty of live music. And I think it's getting very boring to go and see bands that sound the same every night. And it really makes you wonder, why is that so? Yeah, because most of the singing is on backtrack. And so I might as well just be there having a party, or having a, you know, DJ playing the music from the tape. Like some of the, you know, the EDM festivals. My wife, she's very into, you know, electric dance music. So I joined her for one of those festivals called Mystery Land. It was a great fun, great party. But, you know, listening to the music, I mean, there was one guy on a very giant stage, you know, going, and everything was on tape. It was like, yeah. So it was like being on a gigantic party with a DJ just playing music straight from the record. For me, at least, you know, I miss these small clubs where people actually improvise, and you actually get the sense of the beauty of the music, you know.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, that works so perfectly for Wig Wam. And, you know, like you mentioned, you know, like being able to switch out the occasional song, or if you can improvise in a set, extend a part, or be able to
Yeah.
just mess around like that. And, you know,
And
being
just
able to do
stop,
that from
you know,
show to
and
show.
just do something else. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, to keep everybody on their toes, because you never know exactly what's going to happen. And that's what that makes it, you know, so much more alive, and us more alerted. I mean, we have to stay focused and be inside the music, because sometimes it can just turn right. The other day it turned left, you know. And I think that's a cool thing. I remember back in the days we tried backing tracks, because we had so much synthesizers on, you know, songs like I Turn to You and stuff like that, that we used some backing tracks way back in 2004, I think. And what really pissed us off back then was that people came to us after the show and saying, you know, sounded great, but man, this is all, you know, it's all on tape, and, you know, it wasn't. We all played live, but, you know, we had so much going around that we couldn't go out of, you know, we had to do the songs precisely like they were in a studio. And that's like being in a prison. So rather with live soaring vocals, and you know, but, you know, you have that live feel to it.
Absolutely. And that's all the more reason to be able to go out and see you guys, whether you're coming over here to the US, whether it's the festival circuit that's going to be coming up this year. It's just like there's a lot of great opportunities that are coming up for you guys. And it's so great to see that. And of course, when you're able to be able to tour behind such a great record as Out of the Dark, which again is coming out next Friday through Frontiers Music, it's just like there. Just hearing you describe it, it's just like anyone who's able to catch more than one show, they're not going to get the same experience twice. So that's all the more reason to be able to see you as much as possible. And it's got me excited to be able to talk about that. I can hear how excited you are thinking about that as well. And it's just so great.
We are so hungry, I tell you that, because we were determined, to go out on tour in January and then off to Australia. So we were supposed to finish up now in Australia, but everything has just been postponed. It's like, wow, we just need to go out and play now. It's like we can't wait. So we are really starving for the stage experience again.
Oh, for sure. And I'm so glad to see that everything is coming to fruition when it comes to that. And, with the visas and everything that's got to come over here with the States. And then, of course, the other shows around the world that will happen and everything else that'll be happening in the future as well, too, whenever that happens. And it's just been awesome to be able to talk to you about all of it, whether it's the great lyrics on this new album to the variety to the live shows that'll be coming up. Like, it's just got me so excited for the album and everything that's going to be happening with you guys. And I've been so honored to be able to hear the album in advance, and especially honored to be able to talk to you about all of this. This has been a great time.
Oh, my pleasure. It was very nice talking to you too, man. And I hope you'll be able to catch one of the shows.
Yeah, I would love to do it. Just as everything comes together, I hope I can, and that's got me excited about that as well. And again, I know it's a busy time, about press time going on, and there's like so many people that want to talk to you and be able to promote this album and you. And so I'll let
but
you
I'm
go.
a social guy. I love talking, so I have a good time.
Yeah.
This is this is my social life these days. Yeah.
It's mine too. This is this is one of my favorite parts of the day, is being able to talk to different musicians and bands, and just being able to go back and forth, talk about some great new music, and being able to being able to talk about touring and shows and everything. Of course, I was taken away for a few years, so it's great to be able to promote that side again, and just being able to have a fun conversation like this. It's one of the highlights of my day.
Life is getting back to normal.
Absolutely. Again, I think that's a great note to end on. And again, one last time, Out of the Dark coming out next Friday through Frontiers Music. So happy and to be able to talk to you and be able to talk about this, have a great conversation with you. And one last time, thank you very much for taking the time to do this.
See you out there.
Yeah, see you out there.
Rock on.